All right, let's get this one right out of the way real quick. So you gave Game of Thrones a 6, and you gave it a 9. So we have differing opinions here. Before I tell you what I thought, Joe, why did you give it a 9?
I think I know why Disco's was a little bit lower. It was incredibly dark. It was hard to follow the battle, really. But I mean, there was some great payoffs for characters we've been waiting to see get their redemption and shit. Like, if you haven't seen the episodes, fucking spoiler alert, but, you know, Theon had a great ending. Jorah had a great ending. Beric, you know, and no.
And let him finish.
And so those character arcs I thought were awesome, and I think it's an interesting way to go that they ended this war with the dead 3 episodes in. So now we have 3 episodes where we're kind of going, oh, where's it going to go? When initially I think people assumed that this dead storyline was going to continue at least through episode 5 or so. So I think that was interesting of them to cut it off the way they did, and now we're going to get back to what it is, less dragons, less zombies, less supernatural, and really getting back into what started the show, which is who's going to sit on the throne, the political intrigue and shit like that. So I'm excited for that.
That part could be true, but when I hear you talking about Game of Thrones, you kind of sound like a mark.
Yes.
Let me just say another thing, but that just shows to me, bro. I'm a boxing mark. I love boxing. You know, even sometimes when I know who's gonna win, but and that's the thing. I went to this thing in New York. I don't know if I told you. And these 2 girls had just come from the Game of Thrones. Like they showed it 2 days early, and they were nice, bro. They were nicely dressed. And one of them was like, "Yeah, look at the shoes that they wore in the Game of Thrones. And do you believe that this is gonna happen?" They had all these fucking conspiracy theories, and I just saw my way out of it. I go, "What a bunch of marks!"
Yeah.
Because I'm just a casual fan, right? And I am a kind of a casual fan of this show too, but I just thought it wasn't that good, you know, and I was super pissed because everything was fucking dark. Number one, you couldn't see shit. You know, the Night Killer, whatever his name is, he looked like a bitch. He got killed like that.
Yeah.
You know, he just got kind of baited in like a little bitch. Like, bro, this is the guy that threw the fucking thing and killed the other dragon and it turned into ice and he was a badass. And I thought there was going to be a showdown between maybe him and Jon. I don't know if there was Arya because of girl power shit, and I don't mind it, but I thought it should have been maybe him and Jon. I was kind of disappointed there a little bit. But what did you think, Disco?
No, there was no great, like they're building up to the scene, and like they didn't kill off anybody of merit. That's what they say. Oh my God, we're going through this emotional ride. Who's gonna die? Well, nobody we like died. You know, it's like all the characters. Like they kept every character alive.
But Theon and Jorah had been around since the first episode.
Theon's a bum. Theon has been that means him. He's done.
Everybody feels sorry for him, but he was a dick during the whole thing.
He did nothing. He was
just because somebody told him, "Oh, you're a nice guy, you're a good man," whatever the fuck he told him.
I mean, come on.
That changes everything because he said it.
And he wasn't a good character. He wasn't like a guy that like a lot of people were fans of.
Like if you would have killed the imp, I would have been hot, but it would have been still resonating with me right now.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I'm saying,
where was the heat? Where was the heat?
Well,
like, where was the heat? You know, where was him getting? You know, where was?
Bro, how long were they gonna fly up on the fucking dragon? I couldn't tell which dragon was which.
Just hanging up the clouds.
At least put a saddle on one of those motherfuckers and painted red or some shit. And the other one with a blue one. I couldn't tell who was who. What the fuck was going on? I was like, there was a lot of that. Like the first, bro. Remember last year, like last week, when you had complained that, there's a lot of staring, and there's a lot of staring because there's a lot of people, you know, and same thing, like the first 12 minutes of the thing, 15 minutes, nobody spoke a word because they're building up tension, and I'm like, wow, this is fucking about to go down.
Yeah, people are going to die. A bunch of people are going to die is what I thought. Yeah. I thought it'd be like 2 or 3 of the main characters.
Massacre, bro.
That's it, you know?
Yeah,
like,
just
they kept, you know,
just a bunch of whirling black shits killing people that you don't even know or care about, and fucking,
Here's what have gotten people more. The way I mean, this is me. I'm not the Game of Thrones writers, okay? But coming out of this, there was kind of like, I don't want to call it fake outrage. I want to call it like fake support. Like people are acting like, oh my God, it wasn't. Okay, period. You know, the plot twist that they've done on this show where they beheaded main characters and everything, they did none of that. I thought that this big scene was going to end up with the dead killing all these people, and then being part of the dead now and going in, it's like a double turn. Now Cersei's like a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're the baby faces, and they got all these things. That's all this is double turns. When they kill these people, they turn them into dead. It's like just a double turn. You're taking a good character, they die. Now all of a sudden they're an evil character because they're part of the dead.
Here's another thing, bro.
Don't you think it would have been way more talked about if the White Walkers would have gone over? And
I thought they were.
And then built this army to go get Cersei.
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to wrap up. I thought they were going to crush Winterfell, and then of course some of the characters would have survived and hid or whatever they had to do. But I think the biggest problem is that they went from having 10 episode seasons to having 7 the last season and now 6 here. They have to wrap everything up. If it was back in the day when the show started, that story would have taken a little bit longer, but they had to cram the whole thing into one episode.
But that doesn't give them an excuse for this show, which they built up so big to be, to me, so anticlimactic.
Yes.
There was a lot of stupid shit going on, bro.
The one thing was that before it came out, one of the producers or writers
why did he even bring up the thing between him? Why did he even tell him that? Yeah, John told Danny we're related and all that. For what? That hasn't even come into play at What was is that going to be wrapped up at the end too?
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be tension when now they have to team up to go after Cersei, but they got heat between them now because he has a better claim to the throne than she does.
Okay, let's also remember too is that I'm not like, this has been a great series, and I'm not very optimistic. I'm still not very optimistic because it's still HBO, and I still have a very sour taste in my mouth of the way HBO ended The Sopranos. Okay, so seriously,
let me ask you a question because you're okay. But let me ask you a question.
Ended completely anticlimactic. Like everyone's like, huh? I'm thinking this is what could possibly happen on this show.
Because you're a big Sopranos fan. Were you all right with that ending?
No.
No, wait, no. Joe, you obviously didn't like it.
There's a big difference because when I watched it, the show was off the air, so I binged it. So I didn't have as much heat with the ending because I didn't have 10 years invested in the show. If you had watched season by season and waited, I could see that being a big problem. But since I binged it and I knew the ending because it was such a source of controversy, it didn't bother me that much because I knew it was coming. But for someone that watched for years, I could
you
understand.
Already knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. For another guy that invested 10 years in it and didn't know it was coming, I was like, what?
Yeah, you thought your TV shut
and then
off.
the guy and then one of the excuses I remember that I was reading online at that time because I might have been doing the MLW podcast and I was fucking heated. And one of the things that I read was the guy said something like, basically Peter Chase, that's the guy that wrote it, right? David Chase, right? David Chase. He's like, well, basically it's kind of I leave it up to your own personal interpretation. No.
Uh-huh.
You don't leave nothing up to my own personal interpretation. Tell me what the fuck it is that you're trying to say. Don't get artistic with me on the last fucking show that I've been waiting for. You know what I'm saying? I thought that was kind of a cop-out.
Well, now 20 years after the show aired,
make of it. That's like your wife working in on you with some other bitch. It's not what it seems, but it's open to interpretation. No, there's not much interpreting here.
I read a book called The Sopranos Sessions, and it was about the show and how it came to be, and interviews with cast and all this stuff. And at the end, they had the interview with David Chase, and they tricked him into saying that Tony was killed. And so he said something like, when I first started thinking about writing that last death scene, I was thinking this, I was thinking that. And then when he finished what he was saying, the interviewer was like, do you realize that you just admitted for the first time that was a death scene? And he was like, fuck. Like, they got it out of him finally that he was just like, yeah, we killed him, but you didn't see it because everything went black like they described it. You don't even hear it when it happens.
Well, then how are you supposed to know that?
He always said that it's
symbolism.
all...
If it goes to black, that's what happens when you die.
Yeah, it went to black because he got shot in the head.
You know how many people's head that went over, including mine?
Of course. Yeah. That's why.
Don't get super artistic with me. Just what it is, bro. I'm not watching a super artistic show. A man was a greatly acted, casted, written, everything, bro. If you want to, it's beautifully made.